So today we found out it wasn't just US President Donald Trump that was illegally, unlawfully spied on, but also it is Julian Assange. Now, Jason, this story is pretty crazy as we're finding out he was not only being spied on, but he was also blackmailed, that there was extensive espionage with information going back directly to Trump's administration and also being sold to third parties. What's going on here, man?
So you got to feel for this guy. And on one level, while we have this embattlement of when was Trump being spied on for collusion with Russia, what was the evidence, and us saying, hey, Trump Tower should not have been tapped. There shouldn't have been spies in that organization. Well, it looks like Ecuadorians inside the embassy are actually taping, photographing, spying on Assange that way, stealing legal documentation from his medical billets, legal notes. This man is being spied on 24/7, basically in a prison. Let's be honest. He hasn't really seen daylight, had the proper exercise, can't leave the embassy. And these people are secretly cooperating with who, Luke? The United States of America. And of course, they reported, what's it been now, 4 days ago, that within hours or days he would be extradited. Now, there's been a back and forth in the media between the Ecuadorian officials and the Assange and WikiLeaks camp, but we know that this is all true. There are police strewn outside. I mean, we've been covering this since the get-go, since they announced it could be a matter of minutes to days, and now with this bombshell information, it's like, what do we do with this guy? How do we get him out of this situation? How do we find justice for one of the last real journalists in the world, Luke?
Yeah, it's important to understand here, it wasn't just Donald Trump whose name was slandered and attacked by the fake news mainstream elite media. It was also Julian Assange, which they lumped in as a Russian agent, as a Russian spy. People forget that right now. People forget this bigger story, that it was also Julian Assange who was slandered and had his back. All the people turned their backs towards him, when in reality, he's been a very important figure in our media landscape, not only providing information that we would never see if it wasn't for him being able to publish it, being a kind of voice for whistleblowers. This is ultimately why this case is important. This is not a case about Assange. This is not a case about WikiLeaks. This is a case about being able to publish information, allowing you to see it and know what your government is doing. The government is saying, no, we need more secrecy. And the bigger conundrum here is, this looks extensively like the bigger prosecution, the bigger kind of secret indictments, the bigger kind of pressure on Assange is actually being done by Trump's administration, which shows just the duopolitous bullcrap hypocrisy here on so many levels. I mean, how, Jason, how can Donald Trump go from, I love WikiLeaks, I love the WikiLeaks, talking about how great transparency is within government, and now standing behind the persecution of Julian Assange? And it's persecution. The man is in there because of sexual allegations, because of a sexual investigation that women dropped the charges on. Meanwhile, the mainstream media, oh, he's a total rapist, he's a total Russian agent, total fake news on their part. What do you think of this dichotomy with Trump and Assange right now, since it contradicts so many things, Jason?
Well, again, you're spot on. Right here is an article by Business Insider, 5 times that Trump praised WikiLeaks. You can watch the clip. We've seen the clip of well more than 5 times, Luke. I mean, they made a music video out of it, basically. He said it so many times. And now they are installing hidden cameras at the embassy in London and handing the footage over to the Trump administration. Should this be a surprise to you and me? Obviously not. You were there on the first day when Chelsea Manning was forced to appear at a secret, because it was so secret, court hearing regarding secret people, aka Assange. And right now that person is in solitary confinement, Luke, which many would consider a form of torture. Our president has been completely silent on this matter. He was not silent about WikiLeaks and what they had done to help him by publishing those DNC emails prior to this. He was quite vocal about it. It really shows, listen, it shows the hypocrisy of the guy that many of us voted for, including myself, because he was saying he was going to get us out of war, because he was praising whistleblowers like Assange, because it seemed like we had something different. And now, not only, Luke, has he turned his back on Assange, he has taken a large butcher knife and stabbed him in the back several times.
Yeah, let me just correct you there, because Trump did make comments about Chelsea Manning, and he said Chelsea Manning is, quote, an ungrateful traitor. Again, total duopolist switch, back turned against what many people say is one of the major institutions that allowed him to become president. I mean, if it wasn't, I mean, Chelsea Manning pretty much made popular WikiLeaks. Pretty much she established them in the mainstream media dialectic by, of course, leaking important information about the wars that the United States was involved in, that, of course, we would never see, that the government lied about, that the government showed was guilty and complicit in murdering journalists and innocent people and covering up huge crimes that, of course, were barely held accountable for. Meanwhile, Chelsea Manning was, of course, sentenced to a very heavy sentence, which was commuted by Barack Obama. Trump then called her a traitor, said the punishment should have been more severe. Again, just showing just clear hypocrisy here. And what's happening here with Julian Assange, we got more insight of that from Cassandra Fairbanks. She used to work with We Are Change. She was just out there. She now does independent work and works for other publications. She was out there documenting everything that happened. She visited Assange, and she even said a couple weeks ago, his living conditions are akin to a Stasi-era descendant. As visitors to Ecuadorian embassy have their phones checked and all conversations recorded, says friends of WikiLeaks founder. That, of course, is Cassandra Fairbanks, who was there weeks before visiting him, just there a couple days ago as well, documenting all the secret police, all the big security operations, which, of course, is taking away your tax dollars, multi-million pounds in England, multi-million dollar pounds for a guy, this is allegedly on public knowledge, for a sexual investigation that the supposed victims dropped all the charges for. How is that understandable in any sense of the way? You look at this in a real way, it portrays two scenarios here. You're for freedom or you're not for freedom. You're for people to publish information, for the people to know what the government is doing, or you're for total secrecy, total control and domination of big daddy government telling you what you can and cannot know about what they're doing with your money. Those are two simple viewpoints here. Trump flip-flopping shows you a bigger testament to his presidency, and I believe this is one of the linchpin cases which demonstrates and represents that presidency, in my own opinion. What's your take on it, Jason? Because I think I said everything I had to say.
Well, I think there's also one other aspect here we have to understand. The reason that this came out wasn't through a leak. It was actually through officials in Spain trying to buy this material. So look, it's not only being shared with the Trump administration, it's absolutely for sale on the black market of intelligence, which actually exists, Luke.
Yeah, and Spain wanted to buy this information because Spain and Julian Assange have been going at it. A lot of these issues with him staying at the Ecuadorian embassy came up when Assange was criticizing the Spanish government for, of course, repressing the movements inside of Barcelona, predominantly Barcelona, that were calling for a secession from that particular state. Julian Assange was reporting on it. They told him stop reporting on it. The Spanish government put pressure on the Ecuadorian embassy, and it led to him getting his internet cut off. And it's leading up to this position where we're at right now, where specifically they're pretty much saying, yeah, we're going to take them out in a few days. The British police are waiting there. They have undercover cops there waiting, a huge security police operation waiting to, of course, get them and most likely send them to the United States because of these secret grand jury indictments and because of the war hawk zealots inside of Trump's administration that Trump is allowing them to go after Assange. That's a big, important case here. Anything else you want to say on this important issue, Jason?
I think that that's just about it. Guys, we're going to keep our eyes on this. We really hope that, we can find a way for Assange to stay out of the United States, to stay out of the court system, because once he's in that system, we may never hear from him again. And we just don't have anybody that is close to replacing WikiLeaks when it comes to leaked government documents and whistleblowers coming forward. That being said, guys, we are doing 4 videos a day across 2 channels. Please subscribe to both We Are Change and Pulse Change. Ring that bell so you get the notifications. Hit the thumbs up. Comment down below. We check those comments out. We try to get in there when we can. But most importantly, share this information with others. And when it's important to you, get out there and be the change you want to see in the world.